Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Hot off of COVID, I'm Slidewhistle. Patch 11.02 arrives next Tuesday. Radiant Echoes feel amazing, and Xal'atath finally reveals what she's been harbinging. Sexy bug people, Nerubians, more like Doomians.
Okay, you're wielding a little too much power with some of these now. Also, you had COVID? R.I.P., I did not even know.
Yeah, he just got over it, just went back to work today, but he's had like a little COVID-cation this week. But yes, hello, tis I, Immunization. Also, I don't know that I would call Radiant Echoes amazing, but...
I mean, it's a vast improvement to what they were last week. We are no longer Radiant Heck Knows. Hey, it's me, Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag. And yeah, they are... This almost automated at this point.
Yeah, basically, immediately after we posted our episode last week, they changed everything about it. So everything we were complaining about, most of it doesn't stand anymore, I feel like. So I guess like we can kick off this episode just by quickly talking about what we think about the new way that it feels. Overall, feels great, feels better. I just think that it's a great change that you can just like keep doing it until you grind enough of these echoes currencies until you get everything you need. And for me, I got the mount in like a few hours of grinding, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even if you weren't to do the side stuff, which is the vast majority of the event, and give you 225 to 250 funny money, you get 1,400 just for killing the boss. So not to say like, oh, you kill the boss you only got to do it like 17 times. But you do only need to do it 17 times, and then you can get the mount, the most expensive thing in the shop there.
Yeah, compared to how it was before, I was able to level a character from level 10 to level 70 in about 4 hours. So the XP gain is great. I was able to buy a full set of armor with all the Radiant funny monies I got. And yeah, just the fact that I can do it whenever I fucking feel like it and have to wait and have to be there right on the clock, right at 8 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, yeah, because like, fuck. Like, I forgot that, like, just last week when we were recording, like, when you killed the boss in the region, you just had to wait 90 minutes to do anything else, basically, because, like, everything else was, like, worth nothing, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
God, that was so bad. I don't know how it launched like that, honestly.
And it hardly did. We, of course, because of Lollapalooza, we recorded on a Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, not even maybe 36 hours after the launch, they said... yeah, we're gonna have to make some changes.
Yeah, they tried playing in it and got yelled at by their guildmates because that shit was rough. It's night and day. It feels like a standard pre-patch event, still missing a little bit of the lore. I
was a bright baby boy, and I woke up this Tuesday, and I said, I can't wait to see what lore we have, what more we get to do with Magni. I logged in, and Khadgar didn't even have a yellow quest for me. He said, well, champion, go in the holes.
It's like you don't have any kind of update, like not even a little bit of like, oh, we've learned something. One thing you've learned, even like how you feel about the event, Khadgar. Give me something.
Yeah, and then I'm just here waiting for the next bit of lore with Daggy Baby. Like, give me something. Like, I feel like they introduced that, and I feel like they knew that this event was going to be a set amount of weeks, 3. They said that they were going to reduce the cooldown of like the region. Did they do that, or did they decide that they didn't need to do that now because you can just repeat it over and over again?
That's a great question.
It is reduced. Everything is 1 hour now. The rotations are no longer 90 minutes. Not that it matters anymore, because it just means you need to leave out of the portal and go somewhere else more frequently. But they did knock 30 minutes off of that.
Wait, so does that mean that it's going to be 30 minutes? Because, hear me out, I almost feel like 60 minutes is kind of ideal, because if I'm leveling, I just want to not have to leave the zone.
Yeah. Now that you don't need to go somewhere specifically to do the event, air quotes, bring it back to 90! Don't move it at all!
Have all 3 open at once!
Exactly! Choose your favorite and just go do it!
Like, the only thing I can think of is that, like, I think the shorter rotation might be good for people like me, where like one of the last things I need to do now is finish collecting my stupid like echoes or whatever they are to crush together to make into the heirloom trinket or whatever.
Yeah, I got to put on the heirloom trinket. I got to use it when I was leveling Squirm. And he got to put it on and then take it off really quickly.
Which is a whole nother ordeal. Do we have anything else to say about like the Radiant Echoes? I like them. I think they're fine. I actually might do what Slide did and bring a character to level through them once I saw how fucking fast they were. He did like one mini boss, so 2 mini bosses or something, and then he was up a level. I'm like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna feel slow when you're early levels, but once you hit like 50, 40 even, you are getting like 1/3 of your bar for doing one event. And when I say doing one event, I mean like you flew over it as it was ending and then you got it. So it's pretty good. Take your level 60s that you have and just run them through anyway, just so that way you want to switch to them in the War Within. Who knows? You never know what you're gonna do, baby.
Because that's what I was going to say here. If we're done talking about the Radiant Echoes, I feel like I am now prepared. We need to roll it out. Come on out. The Goontometer is here. Slidewhistle, do you have some announcements to speak to the world through the Goontometer?
Yes, hello. I'm speaking through. No, I can't speak the whole time through the Goontometer. It's too thick. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been thinking, and I was like, there's a lot of things that go into what I pick a character for when there's an expansion. And I realized why I couldn't figure out what I was going to be this time around.
Yeah, so he was quizzing me. He was like, so, Immune, think about it. Think back about my mains. And I'm like, okay, first off, like, this is a big ask. You've changed your mains quite a bit of times over the course of the years.
Yeah, and like, I would say, how far back does it go? How much lip service do I give Homozygous the Worgen Hunter?
That was the thing. And then he's like, what are the connecting threads? He's like, what do you think that I think I need to make my main for this upcoming expansion? I'm like, Slide, you'll need to hold my hand a little bit more than that here.
Well, it's always new. You're always a big proponent of just whatever new they bring to the table, whether it be Slidewhistle the Demon Hunter, or Bai the Drakthir, or even Bludgeon briefly went just because she was a Dark Iron.
So the thing that I like came to the conclusion of was like, okay, so Slidewhistle wants a character that feels lore relevant, I believe, to the expansion that he will be playing. So like in Legion, he had a Demon Hunter, because like obviously, you know?
Yeah, BFA, I was on Alan, which is a human, and this one's a kind of a stretch, right? But it was humans versus orcs, right? It was Alliance versus Horde. I'm gonna be the flag bearer and kill these dudes. And then Alan got involved in some old god mess. And then when it was Janus time...
Well, I don't mean to argue, but I feel like, knowing you at the time, BFA, you had like 3 or 4 mains, and I feel like that is accurate because it's the entire Alliance versus the entire Horde. Who are you fighting today? Maybe it's a Dark Iron woman. Maybe it's a Gnome man. Maybe it's a human Death Knight. It's all of us versus all of them, baby.
It's true. I remember I started on a warrior, and I think in my head I was like plate because I want that alliance, that sick alliance plate gear.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaina raid, the Dazzler came around, and I was like, well, I gotta be a mage. I gotta be my frost mage, the water elemental. That's just too cool. So then I was like, fuck. A shadow priest is like the business. Like it's coming up. Like this is going to be very Xal'atath. Obviously the next one is more Xal'atath focused, but this is where it begins. This is where it starts. And I'm like, a priest.
I was like shocked by what I was seeing, honey. Like, Slidewhistle has said very few things positive about priests ever. He actually, I believe, is on record multiple times in the past saying that he would never ever main a priest. So
yes, I believe he often asked you, he bribes you to level them for him, hypothetically.
Yeah, and I also will say, before he realized that the Radiant Echoes were like the primo way to do it right now, he tried to look into how expensive it would be to have pay somebody to level him like he did like on some of his last ones, which I believe, what did you pay before? Like 50K? Something stupid like that? Like super cheap.
Yes. Okay, so what's so funny is that I have a max level priest, but Aquaria is a night elf priest. She's not gonna fucking get into that shadow business. Okay? She's a good night elf. She uses the light. It just feels weird. I don't know how priests, I guess they probably don't care. How do they manage having a light and void character? Like, I'm like, if I have a shadow priest, it has to be a dirty little void elf. and it has to be this little nasty guy.
This is basically Disc Priest Erasure here from Slidewhistle as well, by the way.
I'm trying to think of what my Premier Shadow Priest is, but it goes against that. It is a Draenei, literally the light's child. Sir Yamanos is old enough that he met the light when it first showed up, and he's still like, no, Holy and Disc are too hard.
I reject. So I was like, okay, maybe I can just, I was like, I'm not gonna buy a race change. That's stupid. Also, I don't even know if you can. You can. I'm not doing that. So I was like, I'll live on a new one. So I had to delete Squirm off Pandaria. Then I went to the nasty services in the cities to see what they were doing. And the services chat was moving slow to the point where I kept seeing the same 4 people. And I was like, this is bizarre. So I asked somebody, hey, how much to level me from 10 to 70? And I asked 6 people this, right? The first person I asked said 175K.
That's like over 3 times what you last had paid, by the way.
And leveler that I am, it's never worth it to me. But yet, like, a tenth of a million, but over 100K, almost 200K? What? These people, it's highway robbery.
That's black market auction house money. Like, I'm not doing that. And so then the next guy I asked was like 200K.
What
and I'm
the
like,
dog
okay,
doing?
wait a minute. There's only 4 people posting. Is this the group? Is this the group right here that's just posting and ramping it up? So I go back to the first guy?
It's just 3 guys who all say the same thing, and one guy's like, I don't know, I'm being leveled up.
Slidewhistle's like, I call cahoots.
So then the next guy says 225K. And I'm like, something's wrong. I'm not paying any of y'all. And also, I wasn't going to pay you anyway. That's too much fucking money. And then I found out that the Radiant Echoes was a super good way to level. And that's why they're charging so much. Because nobody's buying their services. Because why would you when you can run around Radiant Echoes yourself and do it?
Yeah, it was stupid how fast he was leveling once he got up to like in the 40s and onward. It was like quite literally like almost a level every few minutes.
And the best thing about this is that you kind of learn your rotation if you participate in killing the boss all the time, which I was, so I learned the rotation.
Even if it's painfully boring, I got to experience the magics of Marksman Hunter. And I mean, I didn't make it to 70, but oh boy, you guys really don't have to do too much, huh?
I don't know who you're you guysing here.
Well, I know Beast Hunter because I played that one too. You don't have to do too much on that one either. But it was like actually 4 buttons. And by the time I finished, I was level 55 and I was like, oh my God, actually just 4 buttons? Like Fire Mage doesn't take a bunch, but I at least have to manage 6, 7. Nope, just hit this button. This little proc comes up, hit another one twice, hit a different button, and just rinse and repeat that until you beat the guy, until Onyxia falls down for the 8th time.
Steady shot your way to the top. But yeah, so I'm kind of at a crossroads right now. I'm looking at Squirm hard. I'm gonna do the class order haul with Xal'atath, and that's really gonna, I think, help. But I'm kind of also leaning towards Alan. I'm leaning towards Death Knight. Alan, I feel like, is my old god guy. He has the most old god experience. He's got the hat. He's dealt with Nasoth. He does taxes. Like, he's got it all kind of, in a little box there.
What's more evil and vile than old god magic and taxes?
Where are the old gods currently? Because I think they might be hiding out in an H&R block.
They're deceased.
Well, that's another thing. It'll come up later. But Xal'atath is like, they're all dead. And I was like, I thought we only killed like a couple of them.
Yeah, okay, so let's just hop right into it then. Are you guys ready to start talking about this cinematic that just came out?
Yes, I have a lot to say. I've been doing a lot of research. I've taken extensive notes. There's a lot of information that I think maybe the general public, or maybe just us, has forgotten about in regards to Xal'atath and the old gods and everything involving.
There's also a lot that I would like to argue about the Nerubian Empire that people online have been shooting their mouth off about, and I want to argue with them.
Incorrectly.
Yeah, so this cinematic starts, it's one of those classic, what would you call it? It's like comic-ish adjacent.
It is an animatic. It is moving pictures, not one every frame, but like they simulate movement via pictures every few seconds or so.
Yeah, so it's one of those. I feel like they normally have 2 or 3 of these going into the expansion, or at least the last several we've had like a few of them. So I wonder if we'll get another one like next week as well, and then maybe one final one, or maybe just 2. I don't know. Anyways, this one follows the Nerubian Empire that we'll be meeting. It basically paints the picture for like setting up the first raid tier, I believe. And the main players here are, okay, so the original queen is Queen Neferess, I believe, and the other player is her daughter. What was her name again, Slide?
I believe, well, I'm sorry, I'm not Slide, but I believe her
Aaron, or
name
anyone.
would be, at the time, she was Princess Ansurek.
Yeah, Ansurek. Okay, so basically this thing starts off with saying, so, okay, is the implication here that like they prospered as an empire because they had some kind of power or deal with the old gods?
So this is where I would like to argue with everyone.
Incorrectly.
I believe the implication was the Nerubian Empire as a whole that Queen Neferess ran was prosperous. At some point, they were offered old god magic, and there was a splinter in the groups. The group that was led by Anubarak, so one of her generals, I assume, was like, yes, we want the corruption. But Queen Neferess said, no, we do not want that. But I very specifically believe that this happened hundreds of years ago.
Because then in this cinematic, the old god sent like another messenger to Queen Neferess. Specifically, this is what, end of BFA, they sent a messenger saying, we would to request your help.
Is this end of BFA? Because that's where I wanted to argue with people, because
so they specifically
it
said
felt like it was
Nyalotha.
older.
Last stand at Nyalotha, I believe it was said. So like, I don't know. My understanding was that a last stand at Nyalotha was when we went to the Black Empire in the raid at the end of BFA.
Man.
I think.
That's the way that I interpreted it as well. That this was like very recent when they made the deal.
Do you remember?
What's your interpretation then, Aaron?
Do you remember in Dragonflight when we went back and we saw the gods fighting the old gods at Nyalotha?
So it was during that time when like Chromie and
Eternus, we were tumbling through time.
Tumbling through time, yeah.
Yeah, and the very last thing we did was we witnessed essentially when Nyalotha happened the first time. I would like to think that's when that happened, because I hate
Who were they fighting there again? Because like there was a battle that was happening there. It was the old gods.
It was the Titan Keepers and like the Titans and stuff. I'm sorry, yes, it was the Elementals versus the Black Empire back then.
So, I mean, I guess, I don't know, like, potentially they could have considered that a last stand. They just didn't know that in the future they would have future last stands. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm mostly only saying that because it would be really stupid if the next part is all of a sudden the Nerubian society crumbles in like the 7 years it's been since BFA.
So I guess that's pretty much, I think that's what happened.
Oh.
So because, so the Akir is the Akir and the Akiraji, or whatever they're called, the faceless ones. The Akir are the bugs, right? And the bugs come from old god bodies. But after the war, the Black Empire War, the beginning, whatever, the Akir split into 3 different groups, right? The Mantid, the Ankarash ones, and the Nerubians. And the Nerubians specifically said, fuck you, old gods. We're going to go do what we want, and we're going to go dig holes. All Nerubians basically said, fuck you, old gods.
So that is Neferess then.
And Anubarak. I don't know where this new info is coming from. I'm assuming it's from the War Within beta, but I've seen this repeated twice now, both on Warcraft Wiki, which, by the way, Wowpedia, WoWWiki, and Warcraft Wiki are all the same. Warcraft Wiki is the current one. That's where everybody who's posting content is. So don't use Wowpedia or WoWWiki. Use Warcraft Wiki. I learned this today.
Wait, there's a third player now? We were already confused enough. Literally, every time any of these are brought up, I have to say, Aaron, which one's which again? Which one do we trust?
What's the color of the good one? Because white background was bad, black background was good. What's this new one?
It's a dark background. It's warcraft.wiki.gg. They made a post, an article that said, we're leaving Wowpedia because we're fighting with the server hosters. And I've noticed that Wowpedia loads super fucking slow in browser, and that's why. So they're all the same. Much like the Akir split into 3.
Whoa!
The Warcraft
What
wiki
the
split
fuck
into
is this
3.
thing? Oh my god! It's a wikia, and apparently I'd already been here looking up the what sword meme. When did that happen?
So both, apparently there's one line that I'm reading on both of these that says Anubarak, who is the king of the Nerubians before he turned bad when he was good Nerubian, sent a message to the other Nerubians, what's their kingdom called? Ashkahet. And was like, hey, we need help from the Lich King. And they were like, nope. And they closed their tunnels. I've seen this on Wowhead, and I'm like, I'm not seeing this anywhere, but I guess I'll believe it, that there are tunnels from Northrend to where we are now, Skittering Hollow, or whatever it's called. Keep that in mind in all this.
Okay, well, I'm keeping that in mind, yes. But, like... So, like, I'm just, like, looking at the map of Azeroth. Northrend is far to the north, and... Do you guys know whereabouts the new, like, Isle of Dorn is? Is it, like, southwest?
It is southeast, I believe, of... It's between southern Kalimdor and Pandaria.
Okay, so it's on the other side of the Maelstrom of Northrend, then? So, like, how do these tunnels work, then?
Yeah, I don't really know. We'll get to that later. I mean, tunnels are tunnels. You can dig anywhere if you could go deep enough to the core, but we'll go back to the cinematic, I guess.
Well, you know what they say, as my civil engineering background, they say, you could do anything you want if you have enough money, so,
Yeah, and they got that money, honey.
Okay, but back to the cinematic. Yes, so, like, at some point, after refusing the old gods' request for the Nerubians to help the old gods at the last stand of Ny'alotha, whatever that entails. But also, like, just beyond straight up refusing it, like, Queen Neferess, like, murdered a boy, basically, right? Like, murdered the messenger.
She, like, used some web magic and brought him down. And so that's the part where I was confused for a while. I watched this map like 8 times. He was like, I'm cursing you, but it wasn't like a curse. He was just like, this is gonna happen to you. Your civilization will crumble eventually. And I think that's what happened. I think it just eventually, they weren't able. I think they were already kind of weak at that point. Like, I don't think they were like a strong empire. I think they were just kind of
she was just too,
proud.
I was to say, she's too prideful to, like, fall in with another empire.
Yeah, so whether the old gods placed a curse on them or just stated in an old god way that, because, like, the old gods always have whispers of, like, all the possible futures, right? So, like, maybe he just knew that they were already crumbling. Anyways, he said, yeah, he basically said your power will crumble. So then fast forward a little bit, I don't know, then it's shown that Queen Neferess's empire is losing power. And then during this time, it's also revealed that Xal'atath herself has been speaking with Queen Neferess, basically offering her a new deal, saying that, if you accept my aid, then your empire will return to its former glory. But then Queen Neferess refuses this deal with Xal'atath.
Queen Nefer-ass.
Wait, is that what I said, or are you just saying that?
So you said it, and
You do got a big booty, though. I mean, because she's a spider, and all spiders have large back size, but she do got a donk.
So yeah, her and her donk turned her back on Xal'atath, but then it's revealed, because then Queen Neferess has a conversation with her daughter, and the daughter's like, who are you talking to? And then she's just like, and Neferess is like, oh, just the ghosts, honey. They talk to me all the time.
The way that Xal'atath slid out of that, like, picture, that artwork was crazy. I think we're gonna get some really fucking good beats going with Xal'atath. Like, she's gonna fuck us up.
Also, like, a side tangent here. Have you guys seen, like, online on Twitter or wherever, people analyzing the scale of Xal'atath because of, like, how big she appears at certain points? It's, like, changing. like when she first comes out of the wall, like you're mentioning, when she's hovering over the queen, etc. People are like, how fucking big is she? Can she change her size?
I have a lot.
I mean, I guess that is valid, because at a certain point, Ansurek shows up, and it is revealed, well, her mom goes for a big old hug, then she stabs her in the abdomen, and it's like, oh, why? And it's like, because you're not the only one hearing ghosts. And here comes Xal'atath, and yeah, she's like a solid, like, 150% of her, which I don't know how big that version of Ansarek was, but like, yeah, that's a large elven woman at that point.
Because, like, we've seen in-game models of Xal'atath's elf model before. She's, like, just normal elf size, right?
Like 6 foot, I would assume.
Yeah, so then it's revealed that after Ansarek turns her back on her mom, stabs her, are we assuming that she basically left her mom to die? Because then later on, like, fast forward a little bit, potentially, it is shown that Ansarek is now Queen Ansarek. So I guess, yeah, we're supposed to assume that her mom's dead. And then it pans out and shows that Queen Ansarek's new Nerubian Empire is prosperous again. They all look hot and happy, and there's lots of them now.
Supermodels, baby.
They very specifically, and I'm interested to see if anyone says as much in the lore. They all specifically have taken on elven features. So I wonder if Xal'atath's magic was like, oh, I'm going to create an army in my image. Like, I'm going to twist these spider guys into things that sort of look like me.
I mean, that would not surprise me. Also, just to backpedal a little bit, when talking about the deal that she would potentially make, Xal'atath said, first off, like we alluded to earlier, Xal'atath said, the old gods are dead, but using their blood, I can make a deal with you to basically bring your empire back to its former glory. But then, okay, first thing I want to talk about with that, are all the old gods dead? Like, I thought, like, we only killed, like, as Aaron said, a few of them, and I'm pretty sure, like, do they actually die? I don't know.
So I've been doing a lot of research trying to figure this out. I do think that they are dead, finger quotes, like for a long time. Like Yasharaj was ripped out of the earth, out of Azeroth, fucking at the beginning of the time for us, like so long ago.
Yeah, Yasharaj's death was prehistory. It's the reason the Pantheon doesn't fuck with them anymore, because it messed up Azeroth so much when they did it. I seem to remember Vanilla and Old Lore saying we beat back Cthulhu and one from Ulduar.
Yeah, so we beat back Cthulhu was the way that it was worded, but then I think it was like verified like much later that he was indeed killed. That Cthulhu was killed in Anchorage. But my thing with Yasharaj is, right, ripped out by Amenthul, thrown into space or whatever, but Yasharaj still has had influence over Azeroth. Pandaria, that's all Yasharaj. That's Yasharaj's heart. When he was destroyed, all the Shah are Yasharaj. Like, that is just him. That's just like a manifestation of him. And there's an axe. There's a weapon. There's a corrupted gore fiend called Xal'atath that it's a drop from the Pandaria Siege of Orgrimmar raid, which is just a corrupted Gorehowl. So, like, he still has something going on. I don't know if it's just like his remnants, his pieces are just so vile that they're making things. But I guess we've straight up killed Ny'alotha. Like, I guess it didn't really register that we destroyed Ny'alotha, which is just an Azoth's dreaming state. Because when void things were dying, they were going back to Ny'alotha and coming like back from there. But we killed that. So either they're going back to like the Twisting Nether, or they're going into some other void thing that we don't know, or they're just dead.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I forgot about that. That was when everyone's favorite end cinematic where we just fire our big ass laser at it, right? So like,
yes, you work so hard, you beat N'Zoth. He's an old god, and here is an in-engine cutscene. We straight up clicked and dragged you next to him.
So I think they are as dead as an old god can be dead for now.
But you're saying that potentially it could just be like a Dota 2, like they used their buyback and we killed them, so like they're just dead for an extended period of time. Who knows what that means for old god time?
And like, since Xal'atath has access to old god blood, something tells me that there's some rituals fanatic cultists of these old gods could cast to bring them back through a Voldemort on the back of a professor's head kind of deal.
You think that potentially Xal'atath and Eridikron are going to try to resurrect them? Do you think that's what they're going to be trying to do?
No.
You think that they're going to try to take their power?
I think Xal'atath, so In my Xal'atath notes, I have some reminders here for the general public, right? First of all, my first note. She wants revenge on her brethren for something they did a long time ago.
So who are her brethren?
That's never said. It's assumedly it's old gods, right? So she's talk shit. She's talk shit about N'Zoth. She's talk shit about Yogg-Saron. But I don't think she's on record as ever talking shit about Yasiraj, who also, remember, created Xal'atath, the Gorhal axe.
I guess because how could she? Because he died so long ago. He's always been dead in our known history.
Well, get this. So another reminder. She's old as fuck. The Xal'atath blade was around at the height of the Black Empire, which is also when Yasiraj was around.
Also, I don't know if I would say that this is a retcon necessarily, but lately Blizzard has been referring to Xal'atath as basically an old god, right?
Mm-hmm. Chronicle 4 said that there was always 5 of them. Always. We always knew about a 5th one.
So Xal'atath, the blade was created for ritual sacrifices to the old gods. Now, it's interesting that this blade was created for sacrifices, and now Xal'atath, the being, is gathering blood. If anyone knows about blood for rituals, it's the blade that used to do it. It's unclear if Xal'atath was always a blade or if Xal'atath was put into a blade. Because I can't believe I'm getting lore from the trading post, but Demencius, the All-Devouring, is said to have given the Void Staff, Void Song, to Xal'atath at the height of the Black Empire. I don't think a Void Lord is gifting a blade another blade, so that means at some point Xal'atath was a being, right? Which brings me to point number, whatever point this is. This elf that we're seeing, this isn't her form. That's not what Xal'atath looks like. Xal'atath in Legion, the Shadow Priest who had her helped her kill an elf to put her body in there. This might not even be a woman. This could be a man, for all we know.
Oh no! All of this research just to transvestigate Xal'atath.
No, I mean, because so it's been a long time since I did any of the Shadow Priest related Legion festivities, if you want to call that ritual sacrifice a festivity. The blade always was whispering to you, basically. Always craving sacrifice. Like, I remember when it took this form, it was mainly just so that it could have some kind of agency in our world, and then she disappeared for several expansions until very recently. So you're right, though. Because of all of that, what you just said, I guess it shouldn't be surprising to me if that combined with what we were just talking about, that she could warp her size, appearance, whatever.
Because now that she's free, yeah, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. Also, she has a weird fascination with dwarves, which is very interesting that now with the Earthen coming up, we're seeing her. So, like, the list of what the things she's done, like, she's honestly responsible for so many things that have happened in Azeroth's history that it's kind of scary. Okay, who freed Ragnaros? You guys remember who freed Ragnaros?
The Dark Iron Dwarves did.
Do you know, like, which person, like, which being?
Well, wasn't it Moira's man?
Yeah, wasn't it Dagran Thracian 1?
Now, you see, I thought that same fucking thing, too. No, it was Dagran Thracian 1's father, Sorcerer Thane Thracian. This whole time, I thought Moira's man be freed Ragnaros. This is our newbie status showing.
Wait, is this Magni propaganda for us that we've eaten up like candy?
Well, I guess. So, Sorcerer Thane Thracian, the first one, the very first one. There's no first name, so I guess it's not Dagran, right? Otherwise, everything's been a lie. But we don't know it's not Dagran.
So are you saying that potentially Daggy Baby could be Daggy 3?
All I'm saying is I couldn't find a first name for this man. And his wife, oh my god, what's her name? Morgood? Goodmore? Something like that. Okay, so the Battle of the Three Hammers, right? This shit happened before everyone we know was even relevant. Dark Iron were fighting Wild Hammer, were fighting Bronzebeard. And fucking Morgood had Xal'atath's blade, which is the wife of the Rassian great-grandfather. They split up. Sorcerer Thane says, I will go kill the Bronzebeards. And she's like, good, I will go kill the Wildhammers. And so they split up, and she had Xal'atath. This is where Grim Patrol, the dungeon we hate and know nothing about, comes into play. Because Grim Patrol used to be where the Wildhammers lived. That's their Iron Forge. These motherfuckers stormed, they did a two-front war, and they almost won, basically. She had the blade, she was corrupting Grim Patrol, and then they just killed her because Xal'atath left at the last minute. And as she was dying, she was like, I curse Grim Patrol! And Grim Patrol's never been the fucking same since, and it corrupted the dwarfs inside, and it's been voidy and gross ever since. This was, again, this is old grandpappy Thracian.
So my question is, you said that Xal'atath disappeared or left. It's a blade, so just like she somehow as a blade flew away.
So this is what she does. This is what Xal'atath does. Whenever there's like 6 instances where she incited a war or something advancing something to her advantage, and she just dipped. She started the fucking troll war against the bug people by reviving a corpse like a long time ago, at like the very beginning of time.
I mean, and then she effectively tries to corrupt whoever is holding her. I mean, like the heroes of Azeroth that held her for Legion, like we were just kind of like, haha, silly blade is talking in our ears, but like I guess we fucking did this too though, because we helped her have a elven form now. So yeah.
Yeah, so once Morga died, the dwarf lady, Sorcerer Thane Thracian was then like,
I'm so upset because my wife is dead and I'm not gonna get any of the fucking buildings that I wanted.
So you know what he did? He went with our boys, Hate Rel, Seed Rel, Dope Rel, Anger Rel, the 7 we made fun of in that dungeon. And they were like, let's summon Ragnaros because we're so mad. And they summoned Ragnaros. Remember, the elementals were enslaved to the old gods but way before this. So this all just seems like she's pulling strings the entire time to get her allies to cause chaos and get whatever the fuck step she needs to get to next.
She's caused all of this chaos over like generations of Azeroth, but like I don't know that I really understand her motives besides causing chaos, because I feel like this is chaos in a lot of different ways. Like, is there some kind of connection that you've found?
No. The only thing that I'm thinking right now is that like she's never talked shit about Y'Shaarj, and her name's Xal'atath, and Xal'atath was another blade made by Y'Shaarj. Is she like a piece of Y'Shaarj? Because I guess we kind of fought him with the Shah. So either she's like a 5th old god that maybe was like a nasty limb that came off of him at some point before he died. And she called N'Zoth the weakest. He's the weakest. He's the, I can make a deal with him. I feel like you wouldn't call somebody the weakest unless you were cool with or were the strongest, which Y'Shaarj is confirmed the strongest. That's the only thing we know about him. He's the strongest old god. That's why they killed him first.
Your thought that she might be a piece of him, something created from him, is not off base, because we do know old gods can be created. As stupid as he was, G'huun technically was getting up there with their power level. Granted, that was the Pantheon creating their own old god, but who's to say, given enough blood, they can't create others themselves?
We had that tree guy who wasn't an old god, but I mean, he's kind of close. What's his name?
Il'gynoth?
Yeah, Il'gynoth. I mean, like, he's talking, he's whispering, he's got an eyeball. I mean, I don't know.
Is your current theory then that, like, potentially Y'Shaarj created a Horcrux of himself in Xal'atath, who has now been collecting blood sacrifices of chaos over generations of Azeroth to become an old god herself?
Or like, yeah, maybe like she wants to restore herself to what she used to be before, because she hates her brethren for what they did to her. So I'm assuming what they did to her was made her into a low dagger. She didn't like that.
Yeah, they shattered her form and cursed her to be just an instrument in their plans, literally like a physical instrument.
So now she got the playbook. She's like, okay, first check, what do we need? We need an army of bugs. Got it. Okay, what's next?
I like how that's the first step of all old god plans. We need bugs.
Every single one of them. It doesn't matter who. They fucking love their bugs.
But this time, Xal'atath is like, okay, bug army, but like, make it like hot and elfin because like, I love this hot new bod.
I hated what my brothers did. They turned all our bugs ugly and gross. We used to have beautiful, pristine bugs, and they made them all nasty.
I guess in a way, if you think about it, Xal'atath kind of or the old gods kind of created night elves, right? Because night elves split from trolls, right?
Mm-hmm. Trolls are the only, like, actually, I don't know. I don't want to say they're the only, but they're the proto race for a lot of things.
And trolls they separated the trolls because of the bug wars that were happening all over like Kalimdor. So like all the trolls got like separated. The tribes like went different places just to kind of hold down different places against them. So in a way, and then the Well of Eternity being created is also kind of an old god act because it's Yasharaj being ripped out of the earth. So in a way, maybe she's like, yes, these are me. If I could be one of you and you could be one of me. What if she's a giant night elf? What if that's her true form?
She is Night Elf Supreme.
Can you imagine just in like 11.2, I finally achieved my true form! And she just grows slightly taller and like a shade purpler. And everyone's like, what happened? It's like, well, I was a void elf, but now I'm a night elf. The similarities are very subtle, but this is my true form. Oh no! I've messed up my ritual! I'm taking another form! And she shrinks half an inch and turns slightly bluer. Ah, beans! I'm a Nightborn now! These races are so different!
No, that bitch Thalrisaraj, she says.
She put something in the juice! Now I have a bunch of weird piercings and I'm bald-headed.
She says, no, I'm ugly. The only thing I cared about was being hot.
The amount of eons I sat in that blade, wanting to do the idle animation where my boobies wiggle.
So yeah, so I don't know. I'm really, really liking where this is going. I'm really excited about the Ashkahet. Just like it looks sick. And it's gonna be cool to see. I just don't know how it's gonna play out.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that this story is going to build for a while because I'm convinced that Midnight expansion is going to be Night Elfy, which based on what you said too, then like I assume Xal'atath has to go onward into there too. So if we see Xal'atath in War Within, I think like it'll be a thing where like we fight her for a bit or just see her throughout the expansion, but we don't get to fight her at all until next expansion. That's my prediction, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just feel like Warcraft recently, the expansions have been so, you can tell where they're going a mile away. Like you can see it, like without any kind of fucking telescopes, right? This is just like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm kind of scared, if I'm being honest. And maybe they're doing that on purpose, because once we deal with Xal'atath, what the fuck else do we have to deal with? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I guess Void Lords, that's still the highest tier, allegedly, correct?
Right, but
like Demencius is still the top tier.
Yeah, but I feel like those two are going to come hand in hand, right? Either like after Midnights, we're going to fight the Void. Midnights is giving me, we are going to fight the Void. Actually, okay, so if you don't want any spoilers at all, there is a small line here that I'm going to take and extrapolate from what the Arathi of the New Era think. I was reading a little bit about War Within, so I know some information.
Okay, give them some time to fast forward a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, figure it out, people. Okay, so the Arathi, I was trying to figure out why the fuck the Arathi are even here, right? Like, what are they doing? So the Arathi, when they left the Highlands, the quote is, we saw some of them go through the South jungles and never saw them again.
They just went like sub-level forward beneath ground and built a civilization.
Built a civilization, right? But what we're seeing is not the Arathi civilization, by the way. What we're seeing is an expedition of them who left their capital. They left their fancy Arathi city because they want to go join the final battle between light and dark, which is called Renalash. So they leave, right? They leave to go help, to go scout it out. These motherfuckers end up in the seas. The seas are really tumultuous, and they throw you around, which is why people don't explore Azeroth, I guess, what I'm trying to say. and it threw them around, and then a beam of light took them out, saved them, dropped them into caves, and they crashed into caverns and died. All their mages died. They have one mage left, and that mage never learned how to make a portal back to the Arathi capital, and so they're stuck.
No, our mages they're just gonna clown on these guys. These guys are infamous for going to lands unknown and instantly going, bomp. Anyways, there's a portal back to Stormwind.
So you're telling me all their plate wearers live just because they like aren't as squishy, but the one mage that is alive is like twinking at level 20 still?
Yeah.
Why didn't they shimmer? They should have known. As soon as they saw the ground, they said, okay, everyone, get 5 feet above the ground and equals key.
Like, they're all just stuck. So, Renalash, right? The Arathi call it the final battle between light and dark. The Halafah expedition of the Arathi Empire arrived, and they were following their emperor's sacred vision across the sea to fight in Renalash. So I'm on Warcraft Wiki. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but they're linking Renalash to a vision that Velen had in Cataclysm.
So you're saying my dad is gonna get back in on the story, you think?
So Velen's vision is as such. During the Cataclysm, Prophet Velen was granted a powerful vision of a grand coalition consisting of, ready, every race of the Alliance and Horde, all armored and armed in glowing weaponry and riding flying mounts of all kinds, along with innumerable dragons and Naru, all led by a human warriors not like, of unclear identity, clad in light-imbued armor with a matching blade. The vision ends with the appearance of a vast and all-consuming shadow and the army charging to meet it. And this basically has driven Velen in all of his time thinking about how to stop this.
Excuse me, this came from how long ago?
Cataclysm.
Yeesharoo, that's just what we're doing.
So then...
I refuse to believe they've been cooking it for
Right?
that long, because there's been so many story changes. But gosh, oh golly, if that's not like the final patch of Midnight.
Think about this. Chris Metzen's back on the team. What if this was his idea in the first place? And they're like, we need you to fucking drive this shit. What was your vision for this?
I guess, but like he wasn't there, I feel like, for like, I don't know, it's interesting. If this has been like the best kept super story secret for so long and just no one's talked about it.
That is crazy to me. So then, like, hypothetically, some of our in-between expansions were just, like, excursions where we just did other random things because, like, writers just had their own plans and motives, like, what's-his-name just having a hard-on for Sylvanas.
Or we're gathering allies and people to join the big fight. And big fights normally mean end of thing. If everyone's working together, right? And so then there's a little bit more about Zira. So, the Prime Naru Zira and Legion, she believed that the Void was a greater foe than the Legion. Yeah, we knew that. Remember, she tried to convince Illidan because she saw a vision that showed him transformed into a champion of the light, leading the legions of light against gigantic void creatures on a terrible battlefield strewn with a mountain of corpses. It is not known if this war is the same one Velen saw. So Illidan rejected it. But, like, we know him and Sargeras are out there floating on a fucking giant... Are we gonna get in a fucking Avengers Endgame where Illidan and Sargeras come riding in a spaceship together and they... Because Sargeras hates the Void more than anything else, too. If anyone's gonna fight the Void... sure, he'll turn around and then hit us. But I could see Sargeras fighting with us just for, like, a second to cleave a Void planet in half.
I mean, I know, like... Don't mean for this to be a pun, but like this is legitimately end game stuff. Like, where do you go from cosmic battle between good and evil that involves everyone that we've ever met teaming up to take on the Void? I mean, like, I don't know where you go from there.
That's what has me a little bit worried about.
That's why I don't want it. It's cool enough, and aspects of it can come true, but yeah, no, you don't move on from that. And I'm not one of the people that like, Metchen said 10.0's the end when he was interviewed in 1996. But, like, you don't go on after that. I guess, everything catches up. It's just like everything's classic now. Like 14.0, that is actually it. You can keep playing the game, but like the servers are live. Just have fun.
Right? And like, I don't want to subscribe to WoW Chew theory because like that's crazy how all my stuff. But like, they've never announced 3 expansions before. What if they just were like, let's tell them all what's coming, let's give them to them all. They won't ask for another one.
But they've also said this is not the end. This is just the next chapter.
Yeah, I remember them saying that.
That would seem stinky to me to be like, this is the next chapter. And like 2 years from now, they're like, the last chapter. You all thought it was done. Nope. There was just one more.
I mean, what could be, so like, remember the last expansion is called The Last Titan. And the only wording we have about it is what they've given us at BlizzCon, right? Players return to the Northrend, and witness the Titans return to Azeroth, as well as uncover a vast conspiracy stretching through the history of the world, one that challenges everything previously thought known about the intentions of the Titans and the true nature of Azeroth. So I guess fighting the Titans would be kind of a more endgame scenario for us personally. As like a roundabout, like, holy shit, we're gonna God of War this? Like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, we can talk about this forever based on what we currently know, and I assume it'll be different than what actually ends up happening. But, like, that's all very interesting to think about. Because, like, that Velen Vision, that's the same one that I think, remember that one where it's, like, them in the future, and it shows, like, an elderly Anduin as well? Is that, like, the same thing?
Mhm.
Yeah, the comment that they try to hide. Now, my thing is, the description of the warrior, it's non-gender descript. It could be, what's the name of that elf woman? Human elf woman?
Faerun Lothar.
It could be Faerun Lothar, because it just says a human warrior of unclear identity, clad in light-imbued armor with a matching blade. That's it. It could be anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. And I feel like we talked about this, like, I feel like we don't really have, like, lore-based episodes very often because, don't get mad at us, everyone, we're not a lore podcast. We don't know what we're talking about most of the time. We're trying, okay?
I very famously opened up this episode just being completely wrong. The whole time I thought, do I edit it out? Do I just cut 5 minutes where I showed my ass out?
Yeah, you gotta put that on the Patreon.
Show your cheeks. So this none of this helps the honkometer or the guntometer, because I'm like, oh my god, who would I want to take? Who's my fighter for the end of the fucking wars?
Which one of you guys will be going to the Ryalash? Which one of you will be striding planet to planet, cutting down interplanetary enemies? It's not you, Wigglestein. There will be no monking as we battle through the universe.
Part of me is like, the second there's a sniff of Illidan coming back, it's all off the table. Slidewhistle has to come back. He's been in stasis because his dad's been in stasis. But then I'm like, should I be scouting for Papa? Like, I should be able to tell Papa what's been going on while he's been gone. I don't know nothing either. I've been sleeping.
The fuck?
And that brings me to the 11.0.2 patch. Guess right, everybody. We've been in pre-patch because we're getting another patch this Tuesday before anything happens. It's sweeping changes to classes.
Well, I mean, any big heavy hitters that like I see you scrolling right there, and it's just a lot of like damage increased or decreased for like a bunch of different class specs. Like, everyone feel free to go look at that if you feel inclined to, I suppose.
Yeah, so part of it that makes me kind of mad is that they're buffing everything I want to play. Beryl got huge buffs. Unholy got nerfed, but it was already really, really strong. Evoker got buffed. Supremely buffed. They buffed Shadow Priest. They buffed Paladin. They buffed Demon Hunters. I'm like, god damn it. Like, you're not making it any easier. But the non-souping changes for classes, there are some UI changes. Nothing about fucking flying, which pisses me off. Okay, Group Finder and Group Manager. Role icons in the Group Finder have been replaced with new art for improved readability. But didn't they already do that? So are they changing the new markers? So they're kind of ugly?
That new shit.
We have a new name for NPC crafting orders. Now they're patron crafting orders. Oh boy, everybody. Which one was your favorite, Aaron?
I was reacting to the DNC. They put a drill quote in there.
Drill? Like Drillbit Taylor?
Yeah. No, the online man.
Like DRIL drill, like
Yeah.
the
And
Twitter
that's
guy.
that's what happens when you get famous, drill. You can act out counterculture if you want, but you put out too many bangers, someone's mom's gonna see it and put it in an email.
And speaking of emails, it's time for our top two, bottom boot, medium moot. I'm gonna hit you with a top two.
Toot, 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 toot.
It's very possible I'll be playing a Shadow Priest. And part of me wants to play it just to say, I can do it. I can do anything I want to.
Live your dreams, although I'm not convinced that this is a dream of yours. Might be a nightmare, but maybe that's what you need going into this expansion.
I'm vibing with the play. I've been going through the steps. I found a Mog that I like. I find more Mogs that I want to obtain. I've got a nice. My name is funny, and I'm a nasty little void elf. The only purpose void elves serve. I'm doing it. I'm doing the one thing they're allowed to do. I don't know. I'm trying to justify why the fuck. Why do we allow Shadow Priests to exist? Much like Warlocks. Like, why do we allow them to do things?
Yeah, I mean, like we shit on warlocks in particular, but I feel like as this expansion gets underway and the following ones, we really need to have a conversation about allowing Shadow Priests to exist in our fold, because like they legitimately resurrected Xal'atath, and everything going forward is the Shadow Priest's fault, I suppose.
Well, I don't mean to but the answer is obvious. We tried to get them to stop doing their thing. We challenged them in a duel. We couldn't win.
Our faces would get melted off.
Fuck.
We can't stop them. we had to ride away on our deer.
I was gonna ask, why haven't we sent anyone to investigate them? And there you go. That's why they melt my face off. Immune, TT, BB, MM.
I also have a top two. Toot, toot, toot. I'm going to take the easy cop out this time and say that Radiant Echoes are
Back, baby?
way better than they were last week. I mean, I didn't hate doing it. It was easy. I was able to watch a movie while doing it and get what I wanted. So, like, that's great. And hearing what Slidewhistle said about leveling, I'm like, cool. All great changes. I'm happier than I was before. So that's top two worthy. Aaron, what do you got?
Well, unfortunately, I must hit you all with a medium moot.
Moot.
Medium moot.
It is twofold. The first of which is, yes, patient listeners out there, I did in fact buy every single thing during the pre-patch event. But don't get out your streamers, because it appears that they will not be giving me any more content to chew on. Which means that I have, 26th, 23rd that this thing comes out?
Yeah, you have like 2 more weeks, basically.
Yeah, I have just shy of about 2.5 weeks here to do jack shit, to do nothing. And when I say everything, I mean all armor types, all weapon transmog, all pets, all mounts. I didn't get the bags because there's literally no point. So I guess, oh, you didn't get everything.
You didn't get everything.
Ah, gah. Well, you know what? I have enough extra. I can just buy the bags and then I'll burn them. I'll burn them for fun.
You could go do the battle dungeons. That's what I've been doing.
I'd rather hop in the fire and burn myself.
Oh, no.
Speaking of getting burnt, I also have a fairly emotional medium mood. And it is that to test out the leveling, I didn't have anyone who was real, who wasn't like a child joke name that I'm holding on to. So I said, who can I level in this experience? Oh, I know. Skeletra. She's so funny.
Can't believe she left the fucking mailbox. I'm still at the mailbox.
Yes, that is the medium to bottom aspect of it. I sat there. This is a character that very famously, Slidewhistle and I, this is during the old leveling system. It's 2 undead. We made it to Undercity, and we just queued dungeons for like 7 hours while we got drunk as shit, and we just sat by the mailbox in the Undercity. But alas, she was forcibly moved. And as I was sitting there shooting things, I said, I've broken something that cannot be replaced.
She at the mailbox still when you logged on?
No,
Oh.
because I did the gear thing.
Aw, so moved her.
So she got teleported to Orgrimmar. I was like, as soon as I loaded in, I was like, I've ruined it. This is no longer her legacy. She moved. Homozygous, the undead warrior, he still gets to remain pure, but Skeletra, she's disgusting. She's ruined.
Xal'atath truly has a way of tainting all.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure she was already disgusting, but yes, she is tainted now.
She was very disgusting. Much like human women being too small.
Oh.
I especially don't know how you guys play undead women.
I thought you meant real humans.
Yeah, I'm on my incel arc.
Aaron Cell. I tried adding Skeletra to the guild, and Aaron said, no, no one shall see her shame.
Yes, I said, no, I don't want her to be an emptied name at the bottom of the list, because she's never getting played again after today. I just wanted to see how leveling was.
You know what? Let's make her your main in the War Within. I'll get on Homozygous. We could be cross-realm raiders.
All I feel like is a cross-realm betrayer. Speaking of oof, I am knocked off my feet by the generosity of our $5 a month patrons. They include Ahoy Vince, Instinct / Drag Race, Azarin, Digital Dave, asking Growlina to say, for the Horde. Cat the Shamateur Shaman. Mitch, who wants to remind everyone that Rathion isn't daddy, he's a literal child. Crucifix, Alternator, Saracen Hawk, Chris M, Kick Puncher, Jerome, Adorno.
There is right now a deer sucking off another deer on the side of the green.
Losing the Patient, Gershi, Super Squirt Day, Calcus, a Dagrin Stan.
Yeah.
I assume he means Dagrin 0.5, the one whose silly wife picked up Xal'atath. Cilantro, Wooly, Slidewhistle, Secret Stalker, Teehee, Adam N, Vanderlyle, and Will, aka Tyre, Trade Chat's fallen father.
If you want to send me an email about any lore corrections that we may have fucked up, who knows? We're kind of flying off the seat of my hastily written notes of my notebook. Send them on over to donotroulettepod@gmail.com. If you would like to access anything else related to us, burn a pigeon in your backyard and go, gree, gree. Or go to donotροulette.com. What about you guys?
Well, you see, you can find me, Alex or Immunization, on Twitter at New Era Alex, or on Blue Sky at Immunization.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at TheBigAcheesy on Twitter.com. You can watch me play Vigigrams at twitch.tv/AaronTNR. And if you want to send me a secret message, simply find a dove in your front yard and go, guru, guru.
Get them confused. You don't want to get the wrong person or the wrong bird.
Yeah, don't create a dove and don't crew at a pigeon. It'll be terrible.
If you want to summon immune, you just strangle a turkey. That's it.
Yeah, no additional summoning needed. Just strangle that turkey and I will be there.
He'll run out of the woods. Stop it. What are you doing?
Do not strangle that turkey.
Hit it, Lyndon.
Another down. Do not relent.
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.
Is it over? Did I miss the whole thing? Ah, beans. Hey, everyone. It's Growlina. Nice to see you. I had something prepared. They said I was going to be in the middle of the episode, but then I had to run an errand for my neighbor, and my sister's kid was sick. Anyways, sorry I haven't been here for a little bit, but tell you what. If you send me this secret message that I am about to deliver, I will send you a picture of me giving you a thumbs up. Okay, the secret password is spaghetti. Remember, spaghetti for the thumbs up. See you guys next week. Maybe. Bye.